everyone. Here's our daily meditation for the 28th of May. Do you ever get road rage? That offence we feel when someone cuts you up on the road? It's common. But did you know it's not confined to the road? Being offended can happen in a queue at the shops, in a conversation, on social media, after receiving a text or letter, in any situation really. The truth is that life is full of things that offend us. Now the Bible gives us good counsel in Proverbs that it is our glory to overlook an offence. And in calm moments, this counsel sounds so right. Overlooking offences is to our glory. But then the infractions come and the struggle begins. The size of them often matters little, for given the right circumstances, any offence may rise up in front of us like an oncoming train, and we react. Sanity can swiftly return, but the damage may be already done. We return tone for tone, passive aggression for passive aggression, slight for slight. Or perhaps we manage to restrain ourselves externally, but only as a volcano erupts behind our eyes and we smoulder, replaying the incident repeatedly, perversely nurturing it. Our verse for today comes from Peter, who, writing to Christians familiar with offence, comes alongside us to show a different way. It is a gracious thing when, mindful of God, one endures sorrows while suffering unjustly. In 3 small words, Peter shares a key to overlooking offences. We become mindful of God. We do not focus on the thing itself. We do not focus on the perpetrator. Neither do we look within ourselves. Rather, we overlook offences by looking up to God, by becoming mindful of who He is for us in this very moment. Now, Peter's readers were dealing with more severe ordeals than the kind we typically face: violence, ridicule, and fiery trials. But learning to overlook the biggest offences begins with learning to overlook the smallest. Being mindful of God in everyday offences trains us to be mindful of Him when the worst comes. But what does it mean to be mindful of God? I want to say 3 things. First, God sees every offence. No offence happens off stage in some unobserved corner of the universe. Being mindful of God pulls back the curtains and reminds us that we live and move and have our being in the view of one more important than 1,000 earthly kings. Second, God sends every offence. God does not merely observe our offences. In the theatre of the universe, every offence, no matter how trifling, is part of the play. In this life, in fact, trials are part of our calling as Christians. Following Jesus means imitating the man of sorrows, and that can't happen apart from trouble, distress, and offence. These are the circumstances in which God calls us to proclaim His excellencies. Therefore, know that the daggers others throw our way are tools in God's hands to transform us into the image of Christ. Third, God will judge every offence. We can also overlook offences because God will judge them all. Christians are to follow the pattern of Jesus, who did not exact vengeance when He hung on the cross. Instead, He continued entrusting Himself to Him who judges justly. Romans 12:15, which states, "Vengeance is mine," is a well deep enough for even the most maligned to draw hope. But God's judgment also changes how we react to small issues. If God will right the biggest wrongs, then we don't need to take even the smallest into our own hands. God's judgment frees us to exchange bitterness for patience, retribution for mercy. The very word judgment recalls our own sin that cried out for our blood until Jesus shed His. It removes all sense of self-righteousness from us, replacing it with the Christ-like plea of, "Lord, forgive them." It beckons us, like Jesus, to hand over our cause to Him who judges justly. If we repay offence for offence, we will have our paltry reward now. But if we learn to overlook them for love's sake, we will lean into fellowship with our shepherd and overseer. We will hear his whispers of well done, here and now. We will find that God is able to invade our hearts, enthrall us with his beauty and worth, and free us. God bless.